Hey guys, in this video we will cover data science interview questions. These questions I have compiled based on my experience and different internet sources. This question might help you in getting your next interview cracked. So let us begin and discuss all the questions. So the first question we have over here is about recommender system. So recommender system are used in machine learning from a very long time, and these are basically based on individual past behavior, and using individual past behavior a future model is constructed. This is used in movie recommendation, social tag. Also they are used in Spotify for suggesting music, or YouTube also suggests you some videos. That is what basically a recommender system looks like. So this recommender system is based on three things, and one is about collaborative filtering. So collaborative filtering is when you actually have an item, and that item has been used by users who have a similar behavior to you. So if your personality or past behavior matches to any other individual, based on that, system will suggest same interesting topics to you which other user have already seen. So that is collaborative filtering. Another one is content based filtering. So in content based filtering, what happens is there is an item, and that item also has some characteristics. So suppose there is a movie which is based on actions, or there's a movie which is based on romantic themes. So they have also some interesting topics based on the genre, and that is how content based filtering works. So if you are more watching action movies, the system will suggest you more of action movies only. And then there is another approach which is used, that is based on personality type. So what kind of personality an individual is carrying? It could be gender based also. So the system recognize that there is a female or a male watching videos. It will suggest based on their personality type, or how positive kind of movies a person like to watch, or kind of hip hop music or something that a person would like to watch. That is come under personality type. So these are three types of filtering on which all the models in the modern world are based on, and that is how a recommendation system is made. So just to make it more clear, if this is individual A and this individual has some past behavior, then the model will study all his past behavior and actions and create a future model for it. And what is the purpose of this future model? The purpose of this future model is to suggest or recommend the things based on this person past behavior. All right. So that is about recommender system. Let us move to the next question for the day. So the next question here we have is, how do data scientists use statistics? Now, when it comes to data scientists, their major job is to make models based on inferences and prediction. So how does statistics can help in this? First of all, it can help in data patterns. So with data patterns, you get the insider information, what exactly the data is saying, and using that you can actually build on further analysis of it. Then another thing statistics help is getting hidden information from the data. In these two ways, data scientists use statistics majorly. And why exactly these are required? So the objective is to study consumer behavior, and in addition to it, they also want to understand a consumer interest, and how they engage with the product of the company, how they are actually engaging and using it. So engagement is also important, and that can be studied using statistics. Then retention, how much a consumer is actually staying with the company, how long, their period is, and then conversion, and which means how much time a person actually take in order to buy the company product. So data scientists use statistics to study these things, and in addition, the main purpose is model validation. So what data scientists do is they create model based on your inferences, and these models, which are based on inferences, they are actually validated using predictions. So whatever the prediction model is making, that can be validated using statistics, and that is why data scientists actually use statistics. All right, so that is for this question. Let us move to the next one. So our next question is, what is logistic regression? Now logistic regression is a regression technique which actually predicts the outcome with the probability, and that probability is about happening of an event. So suppose y is your dependent and x is your independent variable, then what is the probability that if x is there, then y turn out to be either a yes or a no. So this is actually used for finding out whether a person will default on his credit card payment or not. These kind of models are used uh, in order to identify this type of information. So it actually predicts binary outcome, and it's either a 0 or a 1 for y. So I can say 0 is that person will not default on his credit card payment, and 1 is the probability that person will default. Similarly, it can also be used in HR analytics to find out whether a person will resign in the next coming 6 months or not, based on the independent variables. So there could be different independent variable like the attendance or job satisfaction or other behaviors which actually make people leave the organization. So in those type of models, logistic regression is used. All right. Let's move to the next one and see. So the next question talks about data cleansing, and it's important. So data is always prone to error because of two things. One is human negligence, and another one is fake information. So people feed fake information while creating their social media accounts and all those things, and that leads to the error in the data. So that is why data cleansing is important. And this data cleansing is also most time consuming for a data scientist because data is collected from different sources. So that is why data cleansing is prone to error also, and as well as very time consuming. Another thing is, if we don't make data clean, then there would be wrong hidden information coming from the data, because data is always prone to errors. All right, so that is what about data cleansing. Let us move to the next one and see what exactly the next question is. So the next question asks, what univariate, bivariate and multivariate analysis. So as the name suggests, univariate is only one variable, and if there is one variable, what we can do is we can summarize the information coming out from that variable. So suppose what were the last views on my YouTube videos, and based on the views, I can summarize on altogether average views in a week or something. That kind of things. That pattern can be studied from this. Now next one is bivariate, and if I talk about bivariate, it is about two variables. So basically, it is used to study the correlation between the data, and to study this, we use either chi-square or t-test. In this only we can also use graph plot, and basic aim is to study the strength of correlation in the data. So how the two variables are correlated. For that we use bivariate, can be used in regression in order to study how the relationship exists between two variables. And this one is about more than two variables, so the techniques get a little change, like multiple regression can be run, but the concept remains the same, that we study the relationship between variables. All right, so let's move to the next one. And the next one talks about the deployment of ML in real world scenario. So if I talk about deployment of real world and scenarios, I'll talk about e-commerce. So in e-commerce, we use to find out customers churn. We can also use it for remarketing, and it is also used for target marketing. So instead of target marketing, we should say target advertising, because the advertisements are made in such a way that they reach to the right audience. Another way it is used is in search engine. So they are used to rank pages based on customers' preferences or the way searchers are using the services of the organization. So I write searcher preferences. And it can also be used in financial industry. So in finance industry, it is used for investment opportunities, and then also in fraud analytics, we can use ML techniques in order to find out the default on the payment. Then they can also be used in robotics in order to do surgery. Robotic surgery is very famous. Then it can also be used in social media, and in social media it is used to make basically recommended connections. So if you see through LinkedIn, they recommend you some connections based on what exactly like your behavior had been, and what kind of industry you are dealing with, and what kind of people you are already connected with. It can also be used in Medicare. In Medicare, what happens is based on individual past medical history, new medicines or new techniques can be used in order to recommend the way forward his treatment should go. All right. So I think we should move to the next one now. So our next question is, what are the various aspects of ML process? So ML process has different aspects, and if I write down, the first one is about domain knowledge. So domain knowledge is refers to finding out what exactly the data looks like. What are the patterns in the data? What exactly are the extractions method can be used on the data? How exactly the data has been compiled, and about what uh, things the data is about. So that's about domain knowledge. It's actually about getting familiarity with the data. Next comes is feature selection. So feature selection is basically you want to proceed with in your ML model. What do you think is important and should be a part of your model? I can combine two different columns and create my own feature, and probably three columns also based on my requirement. So it is basically to extract and go ahead with the data. Then next comes is your algorithm. Algorithm can be linear or non-linear. Some very famous algorithm are support vector machines. K means clustering. naive Bayes technique, and decision trees. Random forest is also one of the algorithms. Then comes the method of training. So in training, you provide a real world set of data to your model and then check out what exactly the things comes out as a result. So basically when you have created your model using the domain knowledge, feature selection and algorithm, then comes the training part of its working on the real world data. Then after this comes an evaluation. So whatever the decision your model has taken, the machine has taken, those decisions are evaluated based on different techniques and find out what exactly has been the result. So there are different techniques to find out whether the results are in the favor of the model or not. And then comes the optimization. In optimization, you try to improve the results of your model and try to actually get better results for it, or its working performance improved. Then comes the last stage, which is testing, and in this stage you actually test the results of the model coming up using cross validation technique for multiple situations, split the data set back and forth and test what exactly the model has been and whether this is the correct model or anything else could have been done instead of this. So yeah, these are the various aspects of an ML process from end to end. Let's move to the next question and see what exactly we have. All right. So the next question is about normal distribution. So normal distribution is basically a continuous variable spread across a curve, which is normal and symmetrical. By symmetrical, I mean 50% area would be here and 50% of the area would be here. Now, this can also be, say, continuous probability distribution in statistics because it is a continuous curve and it shows probability distribution. By normal, actually, it means samples we study can be given a fixed to central limit theorem, which means the n size of the data set is greater than 30 and data is normal. That is what exactly standard normal distribution is. Now let's move to the next one and see. So next one is about linear regression. So linear regression is basically comes when you have a y and an x, and y is your dependent, x is your independent variable. At that point of time, when you are studying cause and effect model, linear regression technique is used. I'll write also cause and effect model. At that point, linear regression technique is used and it studies basically the correlation and direction of relationship between the variables. Now what variables are here? Variables are your x and y. So it is basically, if I draw, is there is a scatter plot. This is your x, this is your y. So linear regression is basically fitting a straight line on this scatter plot. Alright, so the next question is about interpolation and extrapolation. Interpolation and extrapolation is a topic which is most used in statistics in order to predict the values which are not available to us. So if I talk about interpolation, it is basically is finding a value in a sequence which is missing. So value missing in a sequence. So in a sequence, it means there is a sequence of values going on and one of the values is missing. In that case, we use interpolation, and that is what interpolation also means. So suppose this is a sequence and I know this value and this value. So this is available to me and this value is also available to me, then I can actually predict B. So A and C were available. Similarly, when I talk about extrapolation, it means finding a unknown value from available. So suppose there are two regions and I know actually the characteristic of both the regions which are matching, but the value is available for only region 1. Then I can actually make a prediction for region 2. So suppose this is A and this is B, and they are two different regions of a country. Now I know the characteristics of both these matches. Then if this value is available to me, I can predict this value. So basically extrapolation goes to different known and unknown values, while interpolation finds value which are missing in a sequence. So yeah, that is for interpolation and extrapolation. Let us proceed to the next one. All right. So the next question is about power analysis. Power analysis is used in statistics to find out the sample size. Now, power analysis is also used in experimental design. I can write experimental design. Basically, power analysis is a method or a process, I can say, just to find out what could be the best suitable sample size for the study. Now, it is very important also because if your sample size is too low, there are consequences, and if it's too high, there are consequences. So, I can say if it is low, then there won't be authentic results. So, it is very important also to have a better sample size. And if it would be too high, then I can say the results will be there, but there would be wastage of resources also, because collection of data also involve lot of energy and time. So that is why we generally use power analysis in order to get to the right amount of data. All right. So yeah, I think that is for this question. We will move to the next one now. The next question is about k-means. K-means is a part of machine learning which belongs to unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning is basically when we don't have the labels for the data. There is supervised learning also, where we know the name labels of the data and we use techniques like random forest in order to make prediction. Here we don't know the data, so we make clusters, we group together different characteristics and then we label the data. There is also one more technique which is reinforcement learning, but we will cover that one once we reach to a question related to it. Majorly, these two are used. So I can write this is unsupervised learning, and k-means clustering is there. So I'll just draw a diagram and show you what exactly it looks like. So I'll just finish writing this first. Yeah. So suppose there are different data points given to us, and we start making them into similar characteristics and putting them. So suppose I consider one center k here and one center k here. Then what will happen? Once we start doing clustering, the points near to the center, so this point and this point, will belongs to their different groups. So suppose this point is near to this one, it will belong to this center, and this point is almost in the middle but still closer to this one. I will find Euclidean distance and this will come out to be closer to this one, so this will assign to this center. So in k-means clustering, what we do is we group together different data points based on their distance from the center, and if we create k centers, then we will have k clusters, because different data points will go to their centers in like based on their distances, and there will be different clusters. So here we had two centers, right? One, and this one is second. That's why we had two clusters. But I can create more also based on how near to the other center it is, how similar the characteristics, because we want similar type of characteristics putting into similar group, so that we can name them. Suppose in the real scenario, it is Netflix data scientist doing its job, and he does not know about the labels of the data, but he can see that similar characteristics are there. People are actually watching similar type of series. So it will label them into one group of cluster and say they prefer to watch action series. That is how K means clustering works. So what shall be K for K means? The K for K means is predefined. It is based on the number of attributes in the data of different data points. So if that's why I said we have only two here, because it might be that these two the data points basically, and in a real world scenario, probably the people in our Netflix example have only two type of characteristics. Either some people like to watch action, whilst other like to watch family soaps. So one cluster will be action and one cluster will be family soap in this way. So that is why I'm saying K is predefined. All right. So yeah, uh, I think that is all for this video. If you want to see more questions or data science interview, you can follow up with the playlist and watch next video. All right. Thank you.